Hi, listener. Welcome to the More Than Me podcast with your host, Becky Harrington, sharing stories of women who decided to move outside of themselves and claim a higher purpose, because together we are more. In each episode, we'll dig deep into stories of women who shed their fear and shame so that they could claim their higher purpose. Each week, you'll leave inspired, free from the shoulds that have been bringing you down, and prepared to walk ahead towards your bright purpose. Experience a community that has forged a path before you and discover that you're not alone. Well, hello, listener. This is an exciting podcast episode because it has been, I can't believe it, it has been 8 weeks. So 2 months since we had Tiffany Smiley on the podcast. She's the founder of More Than Me, and she is the vision caster for this organization. And so it's always going to be a regular thing that we have her on the show. And so I'm super excited to be getting to bring her in today. We're going to be talking about the word opportunity today. And that word has been thrown around a lot by the More Than Me core team. If you've been to a More Than Me event, you've heard that word a lot. And we're going to talk today with Tiffany about what does it look like to create opportunity for ourselves? Who creates that opportunity? Do we have to wait for opportunities? So I'm super excited. The last time Tiffany was on the show with us, we were just finished up with Boise. We were heading to Seattle. And since then, we've been to Dallas, and Tiffany has been all over the place. She's been to a lot more places, but recently she just got back from an event in New York City called Women in the World. So Tiffany, say hello to our listeners and also tell us about your experience at Women in the World in New York.
Yes, hello. I'm so happy to be back here. And gosh, Becky, as you were talking and saying, the last time we talked was 8 weeks ago. Is that what you said? 8 weeks ago? So much has changed. So much more opportunity. So many more expansive places to go and visions and dreams to have. So I love looking back and seeing how far we've come.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's a powerful piece of opportunity, is to be able to look back and reflect and see how far you've come. But yes, I just came back from New York City. I love New York City because it is the place of opportunity. Mm-hmm. And I always am inspired there. And this last time, I'm a small town farm girl. I came from a really small rural area. Most of all my family lives there. They're farmers. They don't know New York City. They didn't know military life either. So in a lot of senses, I've stepped way outside of my little bubble and comfort zone. But here's what I realized about New York City is New York City doesn't make my dreams, and New York City isn't going to make my dreams. I already had my dreams. I have my hopes, my dreams, my opportunities. New York City does help bring them to life and help them rise, but we all already possess such beauty and growth and opportunity within ourselves, each and every one of us. But I did love going to Women in the World. I always learned so much, even from other people's perspectives. I think it's important that when we are seeking opportunity, that we are open-minded in the sense that you can listen to someone else's perspective and someone else's thought, and it often will stir a creativity in your own mind or a new understanding or a new place of growth. So Women in the World did that for me this last time in New York City, and it was really just an awesome, energizing, inspiring time to be surrounded by women, and in a lot of ways to see how different we are, but yet we're really not. There is a thread that connects us all. And I love, our Creator created us all so uniquely. And I just love that. I'm always inspired by a room full of unique, authentic women.
I love that. Well, we're going to get into a really interesting discussion today about the word opportunity. And Tiffany, I think, writes the book on creating opportunity in her life by just going out and trying new things and never being afraid. She's never afraid, you guys, legit. I don't understand it, but she's never afraid. And she's inspiring for that reason. But I want to remind you, we are always talking about our member program. And so if this is the first time that you've listened to a More Than Me podcast episode, we want to talk to you a little bit about how you can get more involved with us. We have a member program. It's an online membership. And this is for women who want to band together, who want to have skin in the game, who want to interact with this community of women outside of just social media. We get on Zoom calls every single month, and we bring in experts to talk to us, coaches, marketeers. We're bringing someone on in July that's going to talk about how do you write a book? If you have a book in your heart or your head, like how do you get it down on paper? Which we know a lot of you who join us at events or interact in our community have said, I want to write a book. I have something in my heart that I think is worth sharing. And so he's going to be coming on in July and helping us with that. The quotable Sally Holder, she has hosted a few of ours. I always love whenever she comes on Zoom, everyone's quoting Sally Holder on Instagram the next day, right? But amazing people who are adding so much value to our lives and sharing their knowledge. And the greatest part is just all these women from all over the country connecting on a Zoom call and seeing your faces. And so we want you to join us. Go to the More Than Me website, click on the member page, join us and come face to face. We are in the process of planning our next series of events, and we're going to have those locations on the website really soon. So make sure you go on the website, sign up for the e-newsletter, and you'll be sent information when those dates and locations are secured. We want you to start planning now to be somewhere with us in the fall. We're going to be in a bunch of different cities. So if that's something you have to budget for or plan for, start right now. Put together a plan for seeing us in person. We want to collaborate with you. So we're going to get into our episode. Tiffany, you use this word a lot. Karina uses this word a lot. We're talking about this word called opportunity. So I want you to tell our listeners, what does that word mean to you?
Opportunity means a lot to me, and it's shifted and changed what it's meant to me through my life journey. Originally, I thought opportunity was going to college, getting married, having kids, and that life would be perfect. But that's not life. I think we all can acknowledge that, right? That's not life. And I quickly realized that opportunity doesn't just come to you, you create it. Opportunity actually already exists in each of our lives. It's just a matter of how you're looking at it. So in my life, my greatest opportunity came amidst hopelessness. It came amidst a tragedy. It came amidst an awful, horrible situation when I thought all my opportunity was stripped from me. As many of you know, my husband was blinded by a suicide car bomb. I quit my job. We were making very little money. We had nothing, right? And I always talk about this perspective shift that happened to me in that moment, is I quickly realized that I had nothing to lose and that life is not going to just throw softballs at you. One thing that is universal for all of us is that life will be challenging. Whether you're a CEO or you're Sheryl Sandberg at Facebook or you're Ariana Huffington, life is challenging. Life is challenging for them, I can guarantee you. Different places, different peaks, different valleys. But one thing that is universal and within all of our grasp is opportunity. So I remember looking at this hopeless situation and thinking, I refuse to let this define me. There was actually zero opportunity in front of me in that moment, but there actually was. So I take that back. There was a lot of opportunity ahead of me. And what I started doing was realizing that it's there. You just have to open your mind to accept it. You have to have a perspective and a mindset shift to allow it. So every day I would walk in my husband's room and I would speak truth and hope in life and tell him all the things that he could be and all the things that this horrible situation could actually be turned into good. And as I walked that journey, opportunities came to mind. When you're operating in a positive mindset, when you're looking at what is possible, opportunities are existing right in front of you. Mm-hmm. And as I journeyed along, I will say the hardest point for me to see opportunity was for my own life. I could see it for a lot of other people's lives. I could see it for my husband. I could see it for my kids. But opportunity started to mean something different to me when I started to believe it for myself. And how did I start to believe it for myself? I realized that I was operating in a very negative mindset. So if opportunity is sitting in front of you, you're not going to see it if you're operating in a negative mindset. So as I began to heal, as I confronted my challenges head on, I tackled grief, I tackled panic, I tackled anxiety. I realized that these were the very things that were sort of like, I would call it like blinding me to the opportunity that God had already given me, that he had already placed in my life. But as I broke down those walls, right, I often think of it as like a brick wall, right? And let's say opportunities on the other side of that brick wall. And you're just beating your head against the brick wall and you're like, I can't do it. There's no opportunity for me. And you're hitting your head and you're hitting your head. What if you step back and you said, okay, how do I get around this wall? Maybe the opportunity is there, but maybe you need to climb the rope. Maybe you have to step back and the brick wall is actually only like 2 feet wide and you just have to walk around it another way. And so I started to see that in my own life. I had to take a step back, and we started out at the beginning talking about reflection. And I think reflection is a powerful tool in identifying opportunity in your own personal life. So as I reflected, I'm like, whoa, sister, you got some work to do, because same opportunity you believe for everyone else is sitting right in front of you. So what are you going to do about it?
So you're jumping right into my next kind of series of questions for you. And I love what you said. You said, what blinds us from opportunity? And I want to talk about a few things that I have seen in my own life. And then also just, being around women. I mean, I'm a woman who makes friends easily. And so I have a lot of female friends, and I hear about what they have in their heart and what keeps them from chasing after what's in their heart. And a lot of times I hear women talk about the opportunity that they see, but maybe it's because we're naturally planners. Like, we plan everything in our lives, right? Like, and we plan everything for everyone else, for our kids and for our husbands. Like, we have a plan and we work that plan, and we know if we work that plan, we'll get where we need to go. But sometimes opportunities can be so big that we don't actually see the plan, and we don't see how to get to the opportunity. And so we feel like if we can't see the plan, and if we can't be guaranteed the outcome, because it's a risk, right, that then we aren't going to do it. Like, we aren't going to chase opportunity, because that would be having too much skin in the game, right? And we might fail. So how do you, like, when you talk to women, like, how do you help them understand overcoming some of these obstacles?
Yeah, you know what? Even in my own life, what I went back to? I went back to that hospital room with my husband, and I didn't know how. I didn't have a plan. And I always say the most dangerous person in the room is the one that has nothing to lose. So be that woman that has nothing to lose. What do you have to lose? So you fail, right? I didn't care about failing in that hospital room. I was at rock bottom. What did it matter, right? I didn't know how. So I often, when I'm pushing forward now today in the work I'm doing with More Than Me and speaking all over the country, I go back to that time. I remind myself of that time in the hospital with my husband when all did seem lost. And I could have failed greatly. There was absolutely no guarantee, no return on my investment that I could see, right? But you have to have the faith to walk the course. Like, you will not reach that level of fulfillment and joy, and you are going to fail. I think this is a pivotal thing in understanding opportunity. Is like, you have to go for it. If you don't, you will be in the same position 3 months from now. And do you want to be there, or do you want to grow? Growth is like this continuum thing. I always say you have to get uncomfortable being uncomfortable. Mm-hmm. You have to get uncomfortable. You have to get comfortable out of your comfort zone. That's opportunity.
So
That's
that leads,
opportunity exists.
so that leads me into my next one. The other thing that I hear, and I think it kind of goes in the same mindset, but it's a little bit different. And that is a lot of times it's like, I'm not the person that I think I need to be in order to do this yet. Like I am either not mature enough, or I don't have enough wisdom, or I don't have enough experience, or I don't have enough education. I mean, there's all, you could actually just keep saying words over and over again. I've heard all of them. But what I always find is interesting is when you read the Bible and you look at all the times that God calls people, he loved calling the worst possible candidates, right? Like David and Goliath, right? Like, hey, let's get the scrawny kid to go with his slingshot and kill the giant. Like he loves doing that. He was constantly like, oh, you don't think I'm a powerful God? I'm going to call the least prepared person to do the biggest things. And so how do you help women feel like they're prepared to take on a challenge?
You know, one thing, and this is the language I am trying to change, but one thing I notice that women are really, really good at, they're really good at disqualifying themselves. And I was really good at disqualifying myself as well. And I honestly, it was almost like God had to keep banging my head into that brick wall. Because I was really good at disqualifying myself. But when I took a step back, and this is what I try to teach women is to take a step back and start to realize that you already possess what it takes. That's why I always say it's not going to be perfect. No. And you have to be sold out to the opportunity, to the goal ahead. And you have to be extremely flexible about your method to get there. Don't think it's going to be perfect. It's all part of the journey. And when we can start to look at our life as a journey versus waiting to be perfect, or waiting for that education, or waiting for something to be better, for yourself to be better. Like if you're not doing it right now today, you're never going to get there. So I encourage them, what can you do today? Because we all have the opportunity in front of us today. What are your 3 things? What are your 3 things? Like maybe you need to call someone and say, hey, I have this idea. Maybe you need to reach out to a community and find a community. Maybe you just need to like go register for the course and go get your education if that's something on your heart. Just go do it. You can kill an idea. An idea is so easy to kill, right? We kill them all the time. Every day we kill our ideas. But an opportunity, you can kill an opportunity, but an opportunity is always there. So are you going to go for it? And one thing I've noticed, like, yes, I've taken opportunities that have failed me. I've taken opportunities where I look back and I think, that probably wasn't the best opportunity to go after. But you know what? I learned something. That's what I'm saying. It's all part of the journey. It's all part of it. Like you learn. I've actually learned more from taking opportunities that turned out the way I didn't think they would, or that turned out to be a failure, than I did from all the ones that turned out to propel me forward to greater success. So all of that is part of the opportunity journey. And the more we can embrace it and step out, knowing that you already have what it takes, you already possess what it takes to step out and accomplish it. I was like disqualifying myself for, I'm a wife of a blind husband. I have a lot of responsibility on my plate. I'm a mom. I have all these things. And because society sort of disqualified me from a lot of things, until I stood up for myself and said, you know what, these things are the very things that actually qualify me. As I started to change that voice, I'm seeing women's lives being changed. I'm seeing the tone and the conversation starting to change. I'm seeing more women raising their hand and saying like, I'm going for it. So I believe it's understanding that you already have what it takes. God has already given you everything you need. You have to step out in faith and exercise it. And that's that's so exhilarating to me. And it will get easier as you go. It will get, not easier. I will say you will bounce back quicker from failure, or you'll bounce back quicker from an opportunity that didn't work out. understanding that's all part of the journey, right? It's a mindset and a perspective shift. And so I try to teach women that, and going through the 3 actionable steps. Like, I'm so action based. I'm like, okay, today there's a ton of opportunity. What are you going to do? You know, maybe it's just, like I said, reaching out to the one person. Maybe it's joining a community, signing up for the course. Maybe it's writing your book, writing the first chapter, and then reaching out and asking for contacts. Like, as women, we have to do that more in community. That's opportunity. Opportunity is in front of us every single day.
I always say that it's easier to steer a moving car than a parked one.
Yes.
If you've ever tried to steer a parked car, it doesn't go anywhere, right? But if you start moving the car, all of a sudden, it's really easy to steer it. And I usually use that analogy with the Holy Spirit. Like God doesn't really move us when we're sitting. He moves us when we say, okay, I don't know why you're asking me to go this direction. I don't even see a way for it to work out, but I'm going to take a step. And then all of a sudden he's like, oh, you're going to take a step with me? Well, I'm going to drive the car for you now. And so when he decides to drive the car, things just happen, right? I mean, you've experienced it. Like when he's like, oh, we're all in together with this. Okay. I'm going to take you there. But I think it's just that first step. It's so hard for us to believe that we can take that first step. So we just spent some time, the core team of More Than Me has been taking some time to really identify who we are and who we're not as an organization. And what I loved about this list of who we are is it's an opportunity list. It is. It's straight from the heart of like what opportunity is. And so I asked Tiffany, I said, let's share this list because we are not just, we're encouraging and empowering you that what you have to offer is a part of the body. Like you are a part of the body, and we need your arms and we need your legs and we need your everything. We need you because the body doesn't function without its parts. And so the opportunity that you're being called to, that is your part of the body. And so we're wanting you to step into your opportunity because the body needs you. And so, but we also are forming an organization that is creating opportunity for you and for others, and for us. And so we wanted to share with you kind of this opportunity list that we've been coming up with. So Tiffany, do you want to I think you should read these out because they're like anthems.
Yes. And whoever's listening today, I want you to understand very, very clearly that there is opportunity right now, right in front of you. And don't beat yourself up. If you're not finding it or you're not seeing it, don't beat yourself up over it. Stop disqualifying yourself. Step back and look at what you have in front of you. I always say you just have to look at what you have and go with it. That in 3 months, you're going to have something different. You're going to have another opportunity to go for. So I just want more and more women to truly, truly believe in who they are, their infinite worth, their infinite value, and start to step out in that brilliance. So who we are at More Than Me, we are a national organization. We have members in 15 different states. We've held conferences in 3 different states, and we will be adding 2, actually probably 3 more states to that list. It will be a global brand. We are growth and results oriented. So what is happening in More Than Me is women are growing their businesses. They are changing their businesses to align with their gifts and talents. They are building relationships. They are seeing their revenue increase. They are seeing their mindset and their personal lives improve. We are value-based. I'm always driven by adding value. Something that's so meaningful to me is I always try to leave people better than when they came in. Or like if you come to an event, I want you leaving better. If I run into you on the street, I want my interaction with you to leave you better. I always want to add value in everything that I am doing. We are positive because exactly what we talked about at the beginning of this. it's hard to see opportunity when you don't have a positive mindset. It will blind you. A negative mindset will blind you. So we are positive at More Than Me. We are talented and driven. Oh my word. When I like go through the member list, I'm just like, I'm in awe. I'm like, okay, we could move some serious mountains, right? And just think of the amount of women still to come, yet to come. It's awe-inspiring. We are talented and driven, authentic. We are real and authentic. We are resilient. We're classy, and we're action-oriented. We're moving and shaking and creating results, confronting our challenges head on, lifting each other up, building collaborations, working together, and changing the world.
And more than anything, we are about banding together for opportunity, and we're about banding with people who want to create opportunity. And I think that's, that word is on our list for a reason, is because we're going to use all of these different talents and action oriented and all of this stuff, but we're going to use it because we're chasing opportunity, and we want you to chase your opportunity, and we want you to come chase opportunity with us. So I love it. It's like an anthem.
Yes. I always say too, a rising tide lifts all boats. Mm-hmm. And I truly believe that. I believe that for all of us. I think we, as women, just society, and just constraints in life has placed on us different ideals, or, that we should be competitive with each other, or that it's a scarcity mindset. There's only so many positions available, but that's actually not true. I've been around the block a few times, and I know that is 100% not true. And so that is what we are changing here at More Than Me. And, Forbes, I shared it in our private Facebook group, but Forbes released or had an article published about women that are in community and supporting each other are more successful. And so there is power in what we are creating at More Than Me. And I believe More Than Me is an opportunity for women to be a part of. That's why I'm so opportunity driven, because I want to create more opportunity for others, not just for myself.
Well, we wanted to talk to you about this list because it's important as this organization changes and grows, and you are definitely, most of you that listen every week, like, we know you in some way. We've met you, we've talked to you, and you are in our mind. Like, when we were doing this list, we were picturing you in our heads. We were talking about your names. We were thinking about the conversations that we've had with you. We were thinking about you, and you are represented in these words. We would say, oh, we're this because, we're like this woman that we met in Seattle, or we're like this woman that we met in Boise. We're always talking about you. You are part of what we are building here. And so we wanted to share that with you because you are committed to us. You're committed to listening to us talk for 30 minutes to an hour every week, and we love it. So we think about you, and we talk about you, and we pray for you guys, and we want opportunity for you. So I want to wrap this up. A couple of things that I wrote down that I wanted to kind of make like kind of your practical homework for the week is, Tiffany talked about the 3 things. I want you to make your list of 3 things. What are your 3 action steps that you need to take towards opportunity? And I want you to write them down on a piece of paper, and I want you to call a friend and tell them that you're going to do it. Because there's something about speaking things out loud to someone that you trust that makes it real. Like, you can't just throw the piece of paper away or pretend you didn't write it down. So that's your action item for this week. I also want to encourage you to write another list. And that list is, what is blinding you from opportunity right now? Because sometimes we have to deal with the negative mindset before we can get to the opportunity. And so maybe you have some things that are blinding you. Make a list of those things and give that one to Jesus. Say, Jesus, I don't know what to do about this list, but I know you know what to do with it, and ask him to take care of it for you. So again, we have events that are being added all the time. We have the membership. When is our next membership call, Tiffany? Is that in 2 weeks?
Yeah, the next yes, it's coming up the last Thursday in April. Let me check my dates here to get
That has to be next week.
25th.
Okay, so on the 25th, this is a new member call. And so you want to join between now and next Thursday. So this is going to be released on Tuesday. So you've got 2 days to sign up. I want you to sign up and I want you to join us Thursday, the 25th, which is 2 days from when you're listening to this. And you're going to be on a new member call, which is awesome. The new member calls are great because there's always a new group of women who just joined, and you get to meet them. Like, everybody gets to introduce themselves. You get to talk to Tiffany face-to-face on Zoom. It's a great way to get involved. So you're listening to this on Tuesday, and you're going to go join today or tomorrow, and you're going to be on the Zoom call on Thursday. Did you like how I just told you what to do? And then
I want to see a beautiful face. Let me add to that real quick, Becky, because I want to stress the importance of the power of the conversations that we're having. That once again, this is opportunity. When I was home with my kids and trying to build a business, my first business, I was doing it alone. And what I realized is my husband has been having these types of conversations and been in these types of development groups for years and years and years. And I never had. So this is having these conversations. Thank you to everyone listening to our podcast, because you're listening, we're talking. Someday, maybe you'll be talking with us too, but these are the conversations, the Zoom calls. All of this is all part of the opportunity.
It is.
And it's seeing it that way.
So after next week, when you join and you go to the member call, the very next week, the very next Thursday is when we have our Zoom call that's for all members. And that one is a much more focused call. Who do you have slated to come to that next call?
I have a fire lineup. Like, we are coming into summer hot. I have Natasha Hemingway is leading the next collective call. She is amazing, full of energy, a success and meaningful coach. So you don't want to miss her. I have Dr. Courtney Baker lined up. I have Rick Lawrence lined up, who will be teaching us about getting the book out of your head and onto paper. I have another author that I am talking to do a special Zoom call with all of us as well, for a really neat special event. And he works with professional athletes, and he talks about mindset and the power of your superpower. So I thought, hey, I mean, come on, this is the best. I'm like, you have to come talk to all of these amazing women, because we channel our superpower every single day. So fire lineup.
Join us, because that is what's coming up in the next few months. And maybe your action step is that you just need to start being around people who are taking action, who are changing their mindsets, who are thinking about opportunity. And maybe just by being around them on Zoom calls for a few months will light a fire under you that you didn't even expect. So thank you so much for joining us on the More Than Me podcast. We are always sharing stories of women who decide to move outside of themselves and claim their higher purpose, because together we are more. So join us next week. We are always releasing weekly episodes. Every Tuesday you can tune in and be inspired to grasp your opportunity. If you enjoyed today's show, would you do me a favor? Hop on over to iTunes or GooglePlay and leave us a review. Those reviews help us so that more women can find this podcast. So if you love listening to this, please go tell us how much you love it on iTunes or GooglePlay. Again, you can find out more about this movement in more detail on morethanme.com, and we'll talk to you next time. Bye.